This is the story of Mr. Jack Idahoan, who dreamed of adventures in the Great West and lived life to the fullest. This was Jack's first trip outside of the state of Michigan, and he was so excited to see the mountains and relax in the great outdoors. He was the first one loaded into the truck when it was time to go and enjoyed watching out the window as the scenery went by. Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, and Wyoming. While Jack was excited to make it to his home state of Idaho, he decided to stop at Grand Teton National Park since he was so close. From his boondocking campsite atop the Teton overlook, Jack was able to see the splendor of this beautiful mountain range. As the sun rose that morning, the mountains turned purple, orange, and yellow. He was in awe of the sight. The next day, Mr. Jack Idahoan decided to accompany the family on a kayak trip on Jenny Lake. He soaked in the sun and the views as he hung tightly to the kayak straps, since he didn't know how to swim. What an adventure he was having. He kept his eyes peeled for wildlife along the way, and he even searched for fish, but didn't see any. Finally, the day came to travel into his home state of Idaho. And just like when Pinocchio became a real boy, Jack became a real Idaho potato when he crossed the border. He could hardly believe his eyes. It was true. He was now a genuine Idaho potato and ready for his next adventures in his home state. He wouldn't have to wait long, as the very first campsite in Idaho was overrun with sheep. He hid in the camper until they had cleared out. The next day was Friday. Not normally a good day for spuds, but today was special. Jack was going to the store to pick out a brother. He was so excited to finally have a family member who looked just like him. That night, Jack camped north of the town of Ketchum on a nice boondocking site along the North Fork Big Wood River. This beautiful site gave him a chance to stretch his legs, as he had become quite a couch potato on this trip. He decided to wade the shallow river and sun himself on a rock in the middle. What a beautiful day it was. Jack decided to follow the historical Lewis and Clark Highway up the Lem High Pass. At the top, he got to straddle the continental divide between Idaho and Montana. This was the same pass that Lewis and Clark traveled on their expedition to the Pacific Ocean. After coming down off the pass, Mr. Jack Idahoan had to make a quick stop in Salmon to purchase another brother, as Jack's family had accidentally eaten the first one for breakfast. Finally, Jack made it to the campsite that he had been looking forward to all week. This was a site in the Bitterroot Mountains that had its very own waterfall. Jack originally planned to just be a spectator and enjoy the waterfall from a distance, but then he asked if he could get his picture taken next to the falls. We reminded him that he didn't have great balance and that he couldn't swim, but he was insistent on getting close enough to feel the rush of the water. We snapped a few pictures of him, and just before we could help him back up the riverbank, he slipped. Our last picture captured the frantic look in his eyes as he realized he was going over the falls. The search party was sent out, but sadly, Mr. Jack Idahoan was never found. Only one ear was spotted flowing downstream. It was a sad day indeed. Jack's surviving family, Just Potato, and his brother Chip, mourned over his casket near the scene of the incident, which was on Lost Horse Creek. The family requested that this location be renamed Lost Potato Creek in Jack Idahoan's memory. Condolences were received from loved ones back home, and the rest of his family continued on their way east, remembering all the good times that they had with Jack. Rest in peace, Mr. Jack Idahoan. May you never be forgotten.